morning.
IamKello.com.
Sorry, had my microphone open.
I
Oh,
love the Greg Belfrage show.
I've been listening to you
screwing up on the air before I even get going.
You sound a little taller on radio.
Dispensing a daily dose of common sense. No prescription required.
Americans love a winner and will not tolerate it.
Okay, here we go.
Play to win all.
Good morning, my friends. The marketplace of ideas is open. Welcome to the Greg Belfrage Show. Friday, February 28th. Great to have you along this morning. Well, as you're just hearing from Fox News Radio, the president will meet with the president of Ukraine today. They are set to meet today, and this will be their first meeting since the president won the election and has, or I should say, for their first meeting since he actually assumed the White House. So they'll be meeting later today, and we'll see where it goes. The president had said on Wednesday that Zelensky could forget about any ambitions to join NATO. But Zelensky said that day that he needs security guarantees. Otherwise, we won't have a ceasefire. Nothing will work. Nothing, he said. And he said, I want to find a NATO path or something similar, he said. The president, and again, what they'll be meeting today to sign a minerals deal. And the president said that by entering into that minerals deal with the United States, Kyiv will be granted automatic security guarantees because of the presence of American extractors on Ukrainian soil. And the president said, nobody's going to be messing around with our people when we're there. We'll be there in that way, he's saying. So the president saying, with Americans being there, that's going to provide some additional security to Ukraine. So we'll see what comes of the meeting today. That'll be coming up a little bit later today. The Jeffrey Epstein contact list is a big one, and the Justice Department relates. This story is almost everywhere this morning at all of the, national news sites that I was going to, talking about Jeffrey Epstein. So the Justice Department, and again, this is after AG Pam Bondi releasing to some people, not releasing them widely, because I guess I was under the understanding that she would release them and they would be free then to everyone. She has released them to some conservative influencers who have seen the files, and we'll see where it goes from there. But the new batch of Jeffrey Epstein files, it's not a client list. And Bondi, in a statement yesterday, said the Department of Justice is following through on President Trump's commitment to transparency and lifting the veil on the disgusting actions of Jeffrey Epstein and his co-conspirators. So a lot of these documents were already released during Ghislaine Maxwell's federal criminal trial. Remember, she's in prison now for decades, spending time behind bars because of what she was involved in and her involvement with Jeffrey Epstein and what they were doing. So federal court had ordered thousands of pages of records to be made public last year. So now we're getting more of it for those who are so intrigued. And again, there are a number of stories on that. I'll have more for you as we go on here. That's a very big story this morning. A lot of questions regarding the death of Gene Hackman and his wife. And Fox News has a story this morning saying that the circumstances of these deaths are suspicious enough in nature to require a pretty thorough search and investigation. Officials said there was no external trauma that was seen on either Hackman or his wife, and so that case remains open pending autopsy, and they'll do toxicology, reports and so on. So we'll see what happens. But it also appears that there's enough that's odd about this that you don't have authorities saying, oh, it was a gas leak, or it was, they're not able to point to anything specific like that. And that's what's troubling. And one investigator, this is a former NYPD cold case investigator, who said, was the house really hot? Did they have a lot of clothes on? The heat can get the bodies into those stages faster. You have different stages that you look for, like the livor mortis, which is the purpling of the body, and what we call the dependent areas. You could tell by how long someone has been dead. How long have the body's been there? You can generally determine this based on the stiffness that you see. And so all of these things are clues. And he said this is something ultimately the medical examiner or medical legal investigator will weigh in on. But detectives generally have a good idea what they're looking at. So as officers had come into the residence, a bathroom, they observed a bathroom to the left of the front door. The door to the bathroom was opened, and that's where they discovered the body of Gene Hackman's wife. There was an orange prescription bottle that was found near her body. It appeared open. There were pills that were scattered on the countertop. And then another forensic death investigator saying, we've heard about pills being scattered about, pills being ingested are completely different, he said. Not just on, he was also interested to know more about the space heater that was found near her body. And he said they'll be doing a test not just on Gene Hackman, but also his wife. But also, he says, somebody involved in veterinary medicine will also attend to the dog as well to see if there's any carbon monoxide in the system. So they're being very thorough. Also, there's a story this morning at the New York Post. Gene Hackman's daughter is saying she hadn't talked to her dad in months. And she has spoken out. She's 58 years old, and she said, of Gene and his wife and especially her father, last she had seen him, he was in very good physical condition, she said. Hackman was 95. His wife was 65. They were married in 1991, so they'd been married for quite a while. So a lot of speculation. We just don't know at this point. They're saying it may be this, it may be this. Let's find out. And then we can react. But they're still looking into the death of Gene Hackman. That will likely continue to be a story into next week. Also, as we look at some statewide issues for you this morning, South Dakota Governor Larry Roden saying everything is on the table when it comes to a new prison plan, but he said we've received the message that our current prison plan does not have the buy-in this legislative session. So you had the governor signing an executive order to form a working group that will assess this whole thing. They will assess the DOC plan to construct a 1,500-bed correctional facility south of Harrisburg, calling for a special session in July to make a final decision. And the governor, during a morning news conference yesterday, said, this working group is our reset button. Everything that came before is in the rearview mirror. From now on, we're looking forward, the governor says. And he said, we've received the message that the current prison plan does not have the buy-in this legislative session. He said the panel will be, the job of the panel will be to determine if a new prison is needed, how big it should be, and where it should go. So he's calling this the Project Prison Reset. Austin Goss has done some reporting on this for the South Dakota Broadcasters Association. He's got a story on it this morning. The governor is saying the first of the questions should be the simplest to answer because pretty much everyone understands there's a need to replace the state's aging penitentiary in Sioux Falls. However, there's no consensus about the site and the scope of a new correctional facility. And he says a reality that this group, a mix of lawmakers and other interested stakeholders, will work to address. So there will be, on this Project Prison Reset, there will be 8 members of the state house, 8 House members, 7 senators, and at least 7 other legislators that will be on the panel. Speaker John Hanson, the House Majority Leader Scott Odenbach, Carla Lems, Tim Reich, Greg Jamieson, Brian Mulder, Jack Colbeck, as well as House Minority Leader Aaron Healy. And then over in the Senate, you got a number of members there as well. So we'll see where they go. This is the governor trying to hit the reset button on this issue yesterday. That clearly there's a need. I think he's been very clear about that. He believes that there is a need, and many of us believe that there is a need to do something moving forward. So he's getting that ball rolling. Also, public schools in South Dakota will soon be required to accept cash for tickets to events like sporting games and concerts. So again, now we're talking about school activities. And the state house passed Senate Bill 219. So this goes to the governor now. And the bill was introduced after the Sioux Falls School District, other area schools prohibited cash payments at school events in the last year. And then Sioux Falls was saying, no, we are accepting cash. But then you've got lawmakers who are saying, you say that, but we've got people who are saying they were turned away with cash. That's the thing. You know, your policy is that we want, no cash. And then apparently that word has not gotten down to everyone. So that's why you've got the state legislature involved. And so this goes to the governor's desk. There had been lawmakers who had pushed for the policy after similar proposals had failed in recent weeks. So this new measure focuses solely on public schools, excluding Board of Regents institutions. So things like, any state university, public state university, so on, state technical schools, third-party vendors, none of them are. And lawmakers from rural areas voice support for the bill. And they say this is important, cash access for residents who don't have debit cards. And there's some folks, they feel really strongly about that. And makes sense to be respectful of folks who would prefer to use cash. And especially you're going to some high school event, want to be able to pay cash at the door. I totally understand that. Lawmakers seem to as well. Also, I mentioned that I'd have more information for you regarding Jeffrey Epstein as if you needed some. There are a number of stories about over at Straight Arrow News. House Judiciary Committee yesterday posted, they made it on one of their accounts. They said, breaking, Epstein files released. And it was followed by a link that took users to a Rick Astley video, Never Gonna Give You Up. And people were none too happy about that. So a lot of negative reaction to that. Also, the Trump administration telling agencies to prepare for large-scale layoffs and restructuring. They want departments to submit plans by March 13th. So the president named examples of agencies that should prepare, including the EPA, the Department of Education. The American Federation of Government Employees said mass layoffs will mean fewer services and higher costs for the American taxpayer. Also, the annual NFL Scouting Combine held their first on-field workouts yesterday. So NFL players trying to improve their draft stock. There were 329 players that were there. So the first group to perform were the defensive ends and linebackers. Several other college stars also skipped on-field drills. There are a number of stories regarding that this morning. And you heard this earlier from Fox News Radio. Hundreds of employees at NOAA are being laid off as a part of the president's plan to downsize the federal workforce. Nearly 900 staff members, it's about 5% of NOAA's workforce, will be affected. Probationary employees are also impacted. Those are all stories you'll find at Straight Arrow News this morning. Over at One America News Network, the release of the full set of documents that was promised to be revealed to the public yesterday by Attorney General Pam Bondi has been delayed due to the last-minute discovery that the FBI is allegedly hiding thousands of documents relating to the Epstein files. And the Attorney General says she was only given 200 pages relating to the files when she had asked for all of the investigation files. So the U.S. AG had expected to receive every single document pertaining to Jeffrey Epstein, his client list. So she became suspicious after looking over the documents and examining them. And then to follow up on that, there is a story. You got Kash Patel over at the FBI, said that there will be no cover-ups, no missing documents, and no stone left unturned, and that those who are undermining this will be swiftly pursued. Patel says the FBI is entering a new era, one that will be defined by integrity, accountability, and the unwavering pursuit of justice. There will be no cover-ups, no missing documents, and no stone left unturned, and anyone from the prior or current bureau who undermines this will be swiftly pursued. If there are gaps, we will find them. If records have been hidden, we will uncover them, and we will bring everything we find to the DOJ to be fully assessed and transparently disseminated to the American people as it should be. The oath we take is to the Constitution, and under my leadership, that promise will be upheld without compromise. So Kash Patel reacting to what Pam Bondi is saying. Wow, what a if you got people in the government who are not taking him seriously, I think that's going to wind up to be a big, big mistake. He strikes me as somebody incredibly serious. Also, there are a few stories out there. In fact, it's trending this morning. We'll touch on it in more detail coming up. Brothers Andrew and Tristan Tate reportedly left Romania, have now arrived in the U.S. And this is, one of them's an influencer. One of them had been a professional kickboxer. They had some travel restrictions lifted despite their ongoing human trafficking case. And, you've got Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, who doesn't want them in Florida. That's the story. So there's a lot of things surrounding Andrew Tate and his brother Tristan. Also, the Pentagon has ordered all transgender military service members to be removed from the military unless they are granted a waiver showing that they're fit for warfighting capabilities. So unless they are able to actually participate and and function as an effective soldier, they're going to be looking at all of those things. And that's a quick look at some of the big stories this morning. Coming up, we'll run down stories that are trending in Belf's News Gallery. Thanks for beginning your day with the Greg Belfrage Show. Appreciate having you here, my friend. It's 6:27, mostly clear in 43. This hour of our show brought to you by the Window Shop of Mitchell, offering custom windows starting at $99 a month.
Weeknights 5 to 8. Kello News Talk 1320 107.9.
The Kello Hotline is sponsored by Tires, the Give You More Tire and Automotive store.
Bring charm from the outdoors into your home with Renewal by Anderson picture and combination windows. Optimize your lighting bedroom, kitchen, or living room from ABC Seamless of Sioux Falls. Call 605-646-2667 today.
I'm having trouble getting going this morning. I think it's because I didn't have any morning kick. I love that stuff. I drink morning kick every morning. Oh, and it just kind of jump starts me. So today I'm just like, having a tough time getting going. Bear with me.
Pizza. The 2025 Pizza Battle is on February 3rd through the 28th, and bragging rights are on the line. Plus, a portion of the proceeds support local charities brought to you by these fine eateries: Invictus, Tomaselli's, Dario's, Marco's, Bosses, and Valentino's. The 2025 Pizza Battle. Taste all the pizzeria creations and vote for your favorite at Kello.com.
If an emergency happened tomorrow, would you truly be prepared? Most Americans aren't. My Patriot Supply, America's most trusted name in emergency preparedness, is offering a special discount on their 3-month emergency food kit. Each kit provides over 2,000 calories daily for 90 days. These aren't typical survival rations. My Patriot Supply provides delicious meals and extras, including chicken, beef, real meat, fruits, and veggies. Being prepared is a state of mind. Take advantage of this special discount to secure your family's future now. Go to mypatriotsupply.com. If you order by 3 p.m., your order will ship within the same day, so you'll be prepared in no time. That's mypatriotsupply.com. mypatriotsupply.com.
Clouds increasing, winds picking up today, 30 to 50 miles per hour. High temperature 53. Also very high fire danger, especially west and southwest of Sioux Falls, where a red flag warning is in effect. Tonight turning colder, low 18. Tomorrow it will be colder than the last few days, high of just 37. From the Storm Center at Kevinland TV,
And in Sioux Falls at 6:30, it's mostly clear and 44. Joe Bowman is in the Kello.com News Center. Coming up, Governor Roden has formed a new task force, solve the issue of building a new prison in South Dakota. Also, a new South Dakota law requires all porn sites must now verify age before they can be accessed. Joe will have details coming up on Kello.
top of the minerals deal between the U.S. and Ukraine becomes official today. President Trump praising the deal. I think it's going to be great for Ukraine.
Excuse me.
Fox's Jared Halpern at the White House.
Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky arrives here this morning to sign off on a historic economic framework tying the U.S. to Ukraine's rare earth mineral development.
Federal judge in San Francisco rules the Office of Personnel Management did not have the power to fire probationary employees. Lawyers for the Personnel Office said individual agencies made the decision to fire the employees and that it had no role in ordering the firings. 10 states reporting measles cases, a highly contagious, serious airborne disease. And Mexico sends a drug lord who was allegedly behind the killing of a USDA agent in 1985 to the U.S. along with 28 other prisoners in New York City. America's listening to Fox News.
Hello, News Time, 6:31. I'm Joe Bowman in the Kello.com News Center. The trial date for Joseph Hook, the man accused of killing Moody County Chief Deputy Ken Prorock in a high-speed chase last February, has been delayed. The first-degree murder trial, scheduled to begin in May, has been pushed back to October. Hook's attorney requested the delay for further psychiatric evaluation for a potential insanity plea. Hook faces the death penalty. Governor Larry Roden has created a work group to find answers on a proposed men's penitentiary. The legislature rejected the plan for the $825 million prison in Lincoln County. Governor says a new prison is a need. He'll leave decisions on how large it will be and where it should be located to a new work group.
I am only interested in moving forward. We are focused totally on solutions. We'll work together to make sure we do this right.
The group is called Project Prison Reset and will begin its work in early April. Senate Majority Leader Jim Melhoff says time is money, and the unfortunate part of delaying the decision is the extra expense.
The fact is that it's going to cost South Dakota taxpayers tens of millions of dollars. In my opinion, that's my forecast. I hope I'm wrong, but I don't think I am.
The governor will call a special legislative session to decide the prison issue in July. Pornographic websites will now be required to feature age verification under a bill signed into law by Governor Roden. Sites that do not comply would face penalties. Roden says the new law will help protect kids from harmful content online. A bill that requires public schools to accept cash at school events has been passed by the South Dakota legislature. The new measure focuses solely on public schools, excluding Board of Regents institutions, state technical schools, and third-party vendors. The bill narrowly passed both the House and Senate and is now on its way to the governor's desk. And in sports, the Sioux Falls Skyforce routed the Texas Legends yesterday, 125-107. From the Kello.com News Center, I'm Joe Bowman.
The news never stops. Kello, News Talk 1320, 107.9.
Stronger northwest winds in our forecast today, 30 to 50 miles per hour. Also, extreme fire danger as a result from that. Red flame warnings in effect south and west of Sioux Falls. High today, 53. Tonight turning colder, low temperature at 18. And then tomorrow's high temperature back up to 37, partly cloudy. From the Storm Center at Kettleland TV, I'm meteorologist Brian Carstens.
Kello updates your world around the clock with Fox News. Tune in 4, 5, 6 times a day so you'll always know what's happening. Kello, News Talk 1320, 107.9.
It doesn't really surprise me anymore.
The Kim Commando Show, live Saturday mornings at 9. Kello.
That was a full segment of the Kim Commando Show. That was not the usual update. It was like 50 minutes long. Plus, mistake on their website this morning.
Window World of Sioux Falls be your one call for drafty windows. Beat the wind chill drafts that come with cold temps and
I download those Kim Commando, and generally I don't look at the length because I'm not downloading the show, I'm downloading reports. So there's no, they uploaded the wrong thing.
That's because ZipRecruiter is the place for job seekers who are looking for new opportunities. In fact, ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day, so you can find the right candidates right away. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. Why pay more for prescriptions? Stop overpaying and start saving with SingleCare. It's easy. Find your prescription on SingleCare.com. Show the coupon at the pharmacy and start saving. SingleCare works at pharmacies nationwide and is completely free to use, whether you have insurance or not. So the next time you fill a prescription, check SingleCare to make sure you're getting the best price. Take control.
All right, there we go.
Go to SingleCare.com or download the free app today.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textline.us. Texting rules for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message data rates may apply. Reply stop, opt out. Consult a doctor prior to use.
Looking to get doctor-prescribed medication like Ozempic or Wegovy? Zelty can help you get GLP-1 medications affordably, whether you have insurance and even if you don't, and 100% online. It's simple. Just text coverage to 200-300 to get started. Zelty can help you get Ozempic, Wegovy, or Zepbound covered by your insurance company, so you pay as little as $0 for the medication if prescribed. No insurance? No problem. Zelty can ship semaglutide or tirzepatide, the active ingredients in Ozempic and Zepbound, for as little as $151 a month versus $1,000 plus for name brand medications. Either way, it's high quality medical care, weight loss coaching, and access to game-changing medications, all 100% online with Zelty and affordable with or without insurance. So don't wait. Text coverage to 200-300 to get started today on your weight loss journey with Zelty. Text now for a link to your exclusive offer. Text coverage to 200-300. That's coverage to 200-300. Text coverage to 200-300.
Every day, you've got places to go and things to do.
No matter where you're going or what you're doing, you can always listen to Kello on your phone.
Entertaining talk, news when it happens, good things to know when you're on the go.
Listen to Kello wherever you are with the free Kello. Kello News Talk 1320 107.9.
637, mostly clear, and 44. Good morning and welcome to the Greg Belfrage Show. This hour is brought to you by the Window Shop of Mitchell, offering custom windows starting at $99 a month.
What's trending now?
Add them on Facebook.
Let the tweeting begin. The hashtag does that. News and views from Belf's News Gallery.
Let's take a look at stories that are trending this morning. Newly released 911 recording reveals that the worker who discovered the bodies of Gene Hackman and his wife was pretty shocked and shaken, pleading with authorities to get there quickly. This was a person who said, I'm the caretaker for the subdivision, and I think we just found one deceased person inside the house. The man can then be heard saying, damn, damn, damn. So the dispatcher then contacting paramedics, and the caller told police he saw the bodies through a window and only described them as a female and a male. He said several times he would meet police at the gatehouse at the gated property, and he said, and I'll bring them up there. And said, are you with the patient now? Yeah, I'm over at the property. There's no address here. So then there were a number of other, asked, are they awake? I have no idea. Are they breathing? Again, he's outside the home. He can't tell. More details on that at the New York Post. That is their above the fold story this morning. Also, Attorney General Pam Bondi releasing the Jeffrey Epstein files in a document dump. So the first wave of documents have largely been circulating in the public domain for years. And there are not a lot of new bombshells yet. But what the Attorney General said, what you're going to see is a lot of flight logs, a lot of names, a lot of information. But it's pretty sick what that man did, along with his co-defendant. So that's Ghislaine Maxwell, you'll remember. She's currently serving time time in prison for her involvement with Jeffrey Epstein and what they were up to. Also, British Prime Minister Keir Starmer met with the president on the issue of Ukraine and peace in Ukraine. And so Starmer was personally greeted by the president outside the West Wing. So as the British leader stepped out of his vehicle, a journalist called out, "Can you get a peace deal done on Ukraine?" And the president replied and said, "We can, we will," he said. So Trump described Starmer's visit as a great honor. And he said that it was a great honor to have him in the Oval Office. It's a very special place. And he's a special man. And then Trump went on to praise the UK, saying, "The United Kingdom is a wonderful country that I know very well. I'm there a lot, and I'll be going. We expect to see each other in the near future. We'll be announcing it," he said. So Starmer was questioned about his stance on EU trade, or excuse me, no, these are president's comments yet coming from the president. This story doesn't have a lot of comments from Starmer. In fact, very few. It's mostly reaction from the president and what Donald Trump was saying. Also trending this morning, this is from Fortune, that the president has shifted his trade focus from China to the European Union, threatening a 25% tariff on EU exports, particularly cars. So Fortune is saying that the president then is maintaining a more conciliatory approach toward China. And despite the EU's strong economic ties with the U.S., Fortune says tensions are rising as both sides prepare for potential retaliation. And this would be a shift then. So this piece saying, the gaze of the White House turning from Beijing to Brussels, and the president ramping up the rhetoric of tariffs and criticism of the European Union. Also, this is a story that's trending from Fox News. President Trump's nominee for Labor Secretary cleared a key vote for the Senate Committee on Health, Education, Labor, and Pensions yesterday after picking up some Democratic support. Also, as we're talking about tariffs. This is from Newsmax. The president saying yesterday 25% tariffs on Mexico and Canada will go into effect Tuesday, when an additional 10% tariff will be placed on Chinese imports as well. So Trump, remember, had initially delayed imposing those tariffs after they had agreed to boost their border security efforts. And the president yesterday on True Social said, drugs are still pouring into our country from Mexico and Canada at very high and unacceptable levels. A large percentage of these drugs, much of them in the form of fentanyl, are made in and supplied by China. More than 100,000 people died last year due to the distribution of these drugs and highly addictive poisons. Millions of people have died over the last 2 decades. The families of the victims are devastated and in many instances virtually destroyed. Also, a private investigator from Pennsylvania is saying that Donald Trump's would-be assassin, you remember Thomas Matthew Crooks, was in Butler, Pennsylvania. Well, this private investigator is saying that Crooks was not acting alone. and that there may have been others planning to pick up where he left off. He told the New York Post that he and 6 others had been investigating this shortly after the shooting, and you'll remember this was the shooting at the Trump rally in Butler, Pennsylvania last summer. And he said that after interviewing over 100 people, they were convinced that a criminal network had played a role in the attempt. Yeah, hard not to believe that. It's hard not to believe that. This guy was acting on his own, and how much information have you and I actually heard? How much has been revealed about this guy since? We have learned very, very little regarding this guy. And of course, the media doesn't care, the legacy media. And again, when there's no information and there's no information being released and the media is not doing their job of investigating and the government's not releasing any of this information, that's when there's all kinds of speculation. And so anyway, Doug Hagman is this man's name, this private investigator. He said, "We don't think he acted alone. This took a lot of coordination. In my view, Crooks was handled by more than one individual. He was used for this assassination attempt. And I wouldn't preclude the possibility that there were people at the rally itself helping him." Would not surprise me. But again, in the absence of, when Americans don't have facts, what happens? You've got a lot of people speculating, and it would not at all surprise me that there were efforts along those lines. Also, this is a sad story. The world's oldest Holocaust survivor has died at the age of 113. Wow. Her granddaughter said of her, this is Rose Garone, I believe is her name, Rose Garone. And her granddaughter said, "It's pretty incredible. She's always been so positive. She always says the secret to her longevity is she loves to eat dark chocolate," which is actually pretty good for you. Dark chocolate is. So she has passed away. But absolutely, you look at the age, 113 years old. Wow. What a life. The U.S. economy grew at a rate of 2.3% in the fourth quarter. That was in line with the prior reading and the expectations of economists. So the economy growing 2.3% in the fourth quarter of last year. Also trending this morning, you've got Gayle King, Katy Perry, and Lauren Sanchez, who will join 3 other women on the next mission from Blue Origin. That's the rocket company owned by Jeff Bezos. They announced this yesterday. The 11th crewed flight of the company's New Shepard rocket will blast off this spring. No specific date at this point. And it will be an all-female crew of 6. Pretty cool. Also, the fate of Kansas City Chiefs tight end Travis Kelce has been unknown since the Super Bowl, but fans now are getting an answer. A friend of Kelce's, Pat McAfee, texted Kelce to ask about his plans for next season. And much to his surprise, then he answered, McAfee was doing a show. And Kelce responded to him pretty quickly right in the middle of the show. And he confirmed he will return for the 2025 season. He said he was coming back for sure. So that story is trending. So while we're talking about the NFL Combine is underway in Indianapolis. So there are a lot of folks who are watching to see how the draft prospects are shaping up. This is a story from CNN, a major new study on religious views in the United States. It says, as Americans' connection to organized religion continues to fade, there are some deep divisions over the appropriate role of religion in American life. So Americans are decreasingly calling religion important to their lives, divided over its role in society. And that is, I mean, I think really all you have to do is look around at the events of any given day and say, well, that's hardly a surprise. I mean, hardly a shock that that's the way a growing number of Americans are looking at religion. Also, Andrew and Tristan Tate, this is a big story. Andrew and Tristan Tate, charged with human trafficking in Romania, arrived in the United States yesterday after authorities lifted travel restrictions on them. They have millions of followers online, and one of them is a social media influencer. And so the two of them landed in Fort Lauderdale around midday yesterday. But Florida Governor Ron DeSantis said yesterday, Florida is not a place where you're welcome with that type of conduct in the air. And I don't know how it came to this. We were not involved. We were not notified. I found out through the media that this was something that was happening. So there's a story at FloridaPolitics.com this morning, and the headline is Ron DeSantis doesn't want Florida to take Andrew Tate, but does he have a choice? Also, I see this story the last few days. Steak and Shake has announced that all of their branches in 5 states are now using beef tallow to cook their fries. And this is something that Robert F. Kennedy Jr., the nation's new health secretary, has been pushing for. So they announced on Monday that 100% beef tallow fries are now available in Ohio, Colorado, Florida, Texas, and Oklahoma. Yet they don't operate throughout the country, but the story is trending. And they said that beef tallow fries would be rolled out to all locations across the U.S. within days. So this is, again, they're getting away from cooking with vegetable oil. So fries generally have been cooked in vegetable oil, and RFK Jr. pushing for beef tallow. And so they're doing it. They're making the change. Also, a 40-year-old woman was arrested after this is at a Tesla dealership. Let me see where this is. Some of these stories are, they used to, it depends on where you news at. Sometimes it'll be stamped, it'll tell you what city it's in. This is really unclear. Colorado, 40-year-old woman arrested after police say they found a number of explosives at this Colorado Tesla dealership. And she was charged with explosives or incendiary devices. She's facing a number of charges as a result of this. There was an investigation initiated after the dealership was vandalized several times. Now, again, this is a Tesla dealership. What do you think is behind that? Elon Musk. Hatred of Elon Musk. So they did surveillance and led her to the woman. She was arrested, facing a number of charges as a result of her activities. Also, at least 14 people were hurt in a car ramming attack in northern Israel yesterday, in what police described as a terror incident. And they apprehended a suspect that they say they believe to be responsible for the ramming. 12 people injured, again, in this attack in northern Israel. And then you've got Hamas out there calling it heroic. I mentioned Florida Governor Ron DeSantis a few moments ago. Also, DeSantis is promoting a state version of Doge. And DeSantis said, we were Doge before Doge was cool. And he praised the Department of Government Efficiency in Washington. And he says Florida is on the path of doing the same thing. And DeSantis said, but we've still got a long way to go. So he's creating a state Doge task force that will sunset later this year. And he rolled out an executive order that will do just that. And that's a look at the stories trending this morning in Belf's News Gallery. Thanks for starting your day with us. 6:57, mostly clear, 44. This hour of the Greg Belfrage Show brought to you by the Window Shop of Mitchell, offering custom windows starting at $99 a month.
Intelligent people listen to.
Thanks for starting your day with the Greg Belfrage Show. I appreciate it. Hope you'll come back for the fourth hour. I will see you then. Take care.
If you see me stopped in the McDonald's drive-thru, just staring at the menu with my "what should I order" face, don't interrupt. It's the most